Okay, zoning board, we are live. We are recording. We're, I'm sorry, the phone lines are opened. And go for it.
Thank you, Matt. I'd like to welcome everyone to the East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of March 31st, 2026. I think the first order of business will be welcoming our new alternate, James Kiley, to the zoning board. And the second order of business, we're going to take a short recess because we have to go into executive session for the advice of counsel. So I'm going to make a motion that we go into executive session for the advice of our counsel.
I'll second it.
I'll concur. We're going downstairs. Okay.
Okay, and in 3, 2, 1, you are back.
Thank you, Matt. I'd like to make a motion to go out of executive session.
Concur.
Thought there was going to be more.
Nope, that's all we're doing. And I'd like to get on to the first public hearing, which is, where are my glasses? I know. Matthew Schechter and Charlotte Berman Schechter, 189 Fairview Avenue in Montauk. Description is to construct a 336-square-foot swimming pool, pool fencing, pool equipment, shed, bin, pavers, and to upgrade the existing sanitary system within jurisdiction and setbacks of freshwater wetlands. The relief sought is a natural resource special permit pursuant to 255-420 of the East Hampton Town Code, and 2 variances are required for this application. 2 variances of 25 feet are required from 255-430 of the Town Code to construct the proposed swimming pool and pool fencing 75 feet from freshwater wetlands where 100-foot setbacks are required and any other relief necessary. Zoning district is B resident zone, X flood zone. Secret class is type 2. Council, is the notice of public hearing in order?
Yep, I reviewed the affidavits, notice and posting, and everything seems to be in order, and the board has jurisdiction over this hearing.
Vice Chair, do we have a field inspection?
We do. This is the notice of posting. It's a little damaged, but they made an effort to keep it up there, and it is correctly labeled. Next. I'm just going to look both ways here on Fairview. I'm looking here to, I guess, the south. Next. Going to be a little turn in the road here. I'm looking north. I'm going to look right across the way. This is one of the wetlands that's mentioned. It's going to be on, you see it on the survey. This is across the way. You can see standing water there. That continues, and of course, it was one time contiguous with the wetlands that are associated with the plot on the other side of the road. Next. I'm just standing there looking in at the house from the roadside, so you see where the setting is. Next. There's a wetland here that's to the west, and you can see the little footbridge there that people had put in to cross over, but you can see the depression, and that runs down, and you'll see another photo of where what's considered the wetlands here. Next. Now I've walked onto the property and I'm looking over a fence. That area there, you can see this got lack of large vegetation as part of the wetlands. That's what we're measuring to when we're looking for the variances here. I just want to make a mention that you can see that there was storm debris. We had that terrible snowstorm that brought a lot down. And what happened here was that a lot of that debris was cast over the fence and onto the community lot that's next door. Next. Just looking in another direction back in there. It's just the wetlands is all in that area. Next, please. I'm looking down along that line. Next, it was not necessary. Okay, now I'm going to look back at the house. This is the house from behind. At the far side, you'll have another photo, is where the pool is planned to be placed, the proposed pool. That would be from the far side of the deck we're looking at. Next. Now we get a better close-up of it. I've walked a little closer. If you look at that section of the deck and the portion of the lawn that you see there, that's the approximate location of the pool. Next. This is the back corner of the lot. This is where the bin, the removed shed and bin are proposed to be. You can see the fence to your right there. That vegetation to the left is basically on the property line. So we're in that corner, but it is proposed to be 10 foot off the line in both directions. Next. I'm looking back across. There's a septic system that's going to be relocated, proposed to be relocated along the back line. This would basically be the run of it, looking off towards going through the privet and down towards the one oak that's in the corner. Next. A little bit closer, just again, this is the area where the septic is to be. Next. And then from there, I turned around and looked back at the house. So you can see that pool would be set right in the location there, so you get a good idea how it's juxtaposed to the property line and the house, which is going to be, if we see the survey and have it discussed, it's going to be very close to the deck. Next, as proposed. And I'm just looking back along, coming out of the property. This is a fence that along their line, everything to the right is part of the community preserve. Everything to the left, obviously, is their parcel. Next. Is that it? Oh, I just went out to the road just to show you the sign that's posted there. That's a lot, was bought by CPF funds, it says in the TAM, and that's the lot that's got the wetlands on its place. I think that's it, right, Don? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have someone here to represent the application?
Yes, indeed. Lori Wiltshire for Land Planning Services.
Do you affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
Hi, Kelsey.
All right, so the application before you is for a 336 square foot swimming pool and pool fence to be situated 75 feet from wetlands, to relocate a shed bin and pavers to a conforming location, and to upgrade an existing sanitary system to an IAOWTS. The existing cesspools are likely 4 foot deep and sitting just above the groundwater, which is 4.5 feet below the surface. The proposed shallow leaching trenches, although 39 feet closer to the wetlands than the existing conventional septic system, will sit 2 feet above the groundwater and filter out nearly 100% of the nitrates. Any potential impact to the wetlands will be mitigated by 1,645 square feet of proposed revegetation and a proposed 3,502 square foot scenic easement extending 25 feet from the wetlands. Also, the proposed pool dry well is being relocated to over 100 feet from wetlands, so there are only 2 variances of 25 feet required in this application. Per Sean O'Neill, the engineer at Bridgewater, who designed the proposed IAOWTS, the Suffolk County Department of Health Services would not approve a 5-ring plan due to the soil conditions, sand and clay, at this location. Further, Mr. O'Neill stated that moving the system to the front yard is not an option because all the utilities would need to be moved, including along with rerouting the interior plumbing waistline and possibly relocating the driveway, and even then the space is tight and may not be sufficient. The parcel will be much more conforming with regard to clearing after the revegetation and scenic easement have been implemented. The fact that the property is pre-existing and non-conforming with regard to clearing is not caused by the applicant, and the proposed pool is not undesirable. In fact, you can see from the aerial, the swimming pool is not at all out of character with the neighborhood, as this property is surrounded by them. If the pool were not proposed, the existing antiquated conventional septic system would not be upgraded to an IAOWTS. So this is a benefit for the wetlands. The project is very similar to Hirsch at 56 Jacqueline Drive in Amagansett, where a small swimming pool was approved 75 from wetlands, an IA system 40 feet from wetlands. There was revegetation and a scenic easement. And you can see from the chart that I attached that they're quite comparable. In addition, the application has received a freshwater wetlands permit from the New York State DEC. A copy of that is attached to what I handed to you. And the applicant agrees with all the recommended conditions, including chlorine-reducing sanitation system for the swimming pool.
Board, do you have any questions?
Just if I remember, since you raised Hirsch, if I remember correctly, that was a very small plunge pool. Is that the application I'm thinking? Was that what it was called?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is small, too. 336 square feet is a very small pool.
No, if I remember correctly, it was like 10 by 6 or
It
something.
was,
Okay,
but
well,
it's
that's
75
60.
feet from wetlands, and it's also using a chlorine-reducing sanitation system, upgrading sanitary system to an IA with revegetation and everything, pool equipment, pool fence and everything.
This is an in-ground pool, correct? That you're proposing now, or?
This is, it's going to be partially above ground. There's a cross-section on the survey that you can see. So the deepest part of the pool is only 6 feet, and it's 3.9 feet above the groundwater.
Okay.
But it's going to be somewhat flush with the decking, because that's how you would get into the pool.
I'm sorry, what was the distance above groundwater you just said, Lori?
0.9.
Okay.
You can see that the pool's going to be right up against that deck. And that's how you would get into your pool.
So the planning department is recommending a robust vegetative buffer adjacent to the wetlands where currently nothing exists. How would you address that, or would you?
We did.
Okay,
We
so,
absolutely did. There's a whole, what's the number? 1,644 square feet of revegetation of lawn, and that extends 25 feet from the wetlands, and then we're putting a scenic easement on top of that.
how big is your scenic easement?
3,502 square feet.
And how would you address the, just a question, it's not, I'm just reading it out from the TAM, that the sanitary system, the proposed swimming pool is preventing the sanitary system from being located in the most appropriate location.
So the
So,
fact
I
of the
mean,
matter
that's
is
kind of like
that,
relevant in
if it-
terms of the wetlands.
yes, so if we weren't proposing a swimming pool, we wouldn't be here to ask you to upgrade our sanitary system. So the fact that we're getting rid of 2 conventional leaching pools nearby to this swimming pool, installing an IA, mind you, the toxins, the nitrogen, and all the elements in the septic system are contained in the IA itself. The IA itself is actually further from wetlands than the 2 leaching pools that exist on the property now. Then you have these leaching fields, which, as you know, are basically clear water extending out in the yard, and they're more than 2 feet above groundwater. There's very little, if any, nitrates going towards the wetlands. And the closest element to the wetlands is actually an expansion pool, which will never be installed.
Thank you. Does the board have any other questions?
Yeah, I've just this question about the pool. I'm trying to look to see if I missed a section on it, but that deck, I was out there, it's got to be 3.5 feet above the existing grade. And we've got a 6-foot depth here, so this pool is largely out of the ground.
Agreed.
You know, we may be 2 or 2.5 feet in.
Agreed.
So it's going to be, then, I don't see the section on the pool, that's going to be a poured walls around that, and you're going to get access from the existing deck. No new decking.
No new decking.
Poured walls that are going to look like a structure sitting above the ground, 3.5 feet, let's say. It's about what it looks like. And that's the proposal here. We don't see anything else to be added to it. There's nothing on the survey, I know. But I don't, without seeing a section on the pool, and I'm not saying that's critical, I'm assuming the only way to pour this would be to create some walls, drop the pools in between. They're going to be the pool walls coming down. Think about it being 4 feet out of the ground, 3.5 feet out of the ground. Something has to structure it there, right?
Well, you use a lot of rebar in gunite pools.
I understand what they do. But nonetheless, I'm just telling you that I think that when I look at this, I'm saying to myself, there's got to be some structure. At one point, the pool is only about 2 feet deep.
Correct.
At that point, that end of the pool didn't have a structure, would be hanging in the air. Something's there, more structural.
You have to change the grade a little bit to
You have to
support
change
it.
the whole thing, yeah, that's to make it work. Okay. All right.
We ready for the planning department?
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Good evening, Tyler Borsak for the Planning Department.
Do you affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, Tyler.
So this parcel is located on the north side of Fairview Avenue in Montauk. It's north of the golf course. The project before the board is to construct a new swimming pool with fencing, pool equipment, to remove and replace a shed and bin in conforming locations, and to install an upgraded sanitary system. The wetlands located on the property and which extend onto a town of East Hampton CBF purchased property constitute an integral part of the natural environment, more specifically the hydrological system. In addition to diversifying the landscape, these wetlands play a significant role in the storage of water, flood control, and the maintenance of water quality. The value of these wetlands for their groundwater recharge are especially notable considering that the property and the wetlands are located within the water recharge overlay district. The impacts of the improvements on this parcel extend well beyond the boundaries of the parcel itself, onto surrounding wetlands, Lake Montauk, and groundwater. Clearing on the property is pre-existing non-conforming to water recharge overlay district clearing regulations with an existing clearing of 17,148 square feet where 10,000 is permitted. The proposed improvements include a 336 square foot swimming pool with pool fencing, pool equipment, a relocated shed and bin with pavers to a conforming location, and an upgraded sanitary system to replace the existing sanitary system being removed for the construction of the swimming pool. As proposed, the planning department is recommending denial of the application. The constraints of the parcel and the existing conditions are not conducive to the construction of a swimming pool within setbacks, which require relocation of the sanitary system, resulting in substantially reduced setbacks. The swimming pool, while smaller size, is proposed in the most conforming location the applicants can place without requiring side yard lot line setback variances. This proposed location necessitates the relocation of the sanitary system, not as mitigation, but as a requirement. The relocation of the sanitary system reduces the existing system's 83.5 foot setback by half down to a proposed 41.5 feet. The applicants are also proposing to utilize shallow leaching trenches, which possibly push the system even closer to wetlands than a conventional 5-ring shallow leaching field might. 5-ring system certainly is possible on this property. It would just require sand wick down to clean sand. It's been done in Montauk. You've seen them in the past where they have to go through that clay lens and go down to clean sand. It's certainly a possibility. And additionally, an IA system, while it is better at reducing the amount of nitrogen in the effluent, certainly contains nitrogen, and reducing that setback is still significant. There is substantial amount of nitrogen that comes out of a sanitary system. It's not clean water. I certainly wouldn't want to be drinking it. The proposed relocation of the unpermitted shed, bin, and pavers appear to be reasonable requests located over 100 feet from wetlands and minor structures. However, an appurtenance such as a swimming pool located only 75 feet from wetlands, which also forces the sanitary system relocation to half the existing distance and less than 1/3 of what would be required for a new system, is an inappropriate level of development on a constrained parcel. Not every property is well suited for every structure, and in this case, the existing conditions do not lend themselves to the proposed project. Additionally, the proposed swimming pool is preventing the sanitary system from being located in the most appropriate location available on the property, which further increases the impacts on wetlands that would not otherwise exist without the swimming pool. Any future sanitary system upgrade should be proposed along the eastern side of the property. One of the largest impacts on wetlands from this project includes the sanitary system. Through the proposed design of the improvements, the system is being forced to relocate even closer to wetlands, exacerbating their impacts by reducing the travel time between the leaching structures and the wetlands themselves. As mitigation, the planning department recommended a revegetation of the property associated with an application for a reasonable development or redevelopment. In their most recent submissions, the applicants included a 1,884 square foot revegetation, which would reduce overall clearing down to 15,266 square feet. The planning department does not believe that any level of mitigation will offset the proposed project. However, if the board felt that the project meets the NRSP and variance standards, the planning department would recommend a robust revegetation buffer adjacent to wetlands where almost none currently exists. The proposed revegetation would establish about a 25-foot buffer across a large portion of that wetland, not the entire thing because there's a driveway in the way, but the majority of it. Additionally, a scenic easement we were proposed over the proposed revegetation to help protect it in perpetuity was also included. The planning department feels that the proposed swimming pool fails several of the variance standards, including being an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, as a substantial variance when considering the sanitary system relocation, will have an adverse impact on the environment both on and off the subject property, and can be considered self-created difficulty having purchased the property in 2008, well after the establishment of modern natural resource zoning regulations. The project also fails to meet the NRSP standards, as alternative use of the property already exists with a residence and associated structures. Very simply, the construction of a swimming pool which necessitates the relocation of a sanitary system significantly closer to wetlands and eliminates a future upgrade in the most conforming location available is poor natural resources planning. And I would need time to look at the Hirsch application to try to see what exactly the existing conditions were on that. I don't remember anything about that off the top of my head, whether it's really comparable or not. I'm not familiar with it.
Do you want to be able to look at that?
I certainly
You
would
wanna
like
leave
to
the
take a
record
look at it.
open
I think,
for-
yeah, just to see what was proposed on that application.
Okay,
And where the existing sanitary was and things of that.
yeah, I think that's appropriate.
Well, Tyler, can you comment a little bit more on the wetlands, the situation now? I mean, you see the culvert that's running right onto the property and to the CPF property next door. Can you comment a little bit more on the importance of that and the difference than other locations?
No,
We know
all these
Montauk-
wetlands in this area of the golf course are all interconnected, and were fragmented over the, as development occurred around the golf course. The culvert, very likely, I imagine, is from across the street, which is also within jurisdiction. And those likely flow east and probably slightly south over towards Lake Montauk. It's all one large interconnected system at the end of the day in this area, all part of the Lake Montauk watershed. So yes, it's certainly significance on more than just this property and even more than just the town-owned property as well.
Yeah, I think- two questions. You do say in the TAM, you just spoke it here, that you feel that the swimming pool, I think you're saying the swimming pool is not in keeping with the character of the neighborhood or would be a detriment, but can you just address the point that Ms. Wiltshire made, because she gave us, this aerial and showed some pools, so can you just
I mean, yes,
distinguish a little
certainly,
bit?
certainly. It would be counter to the board's past practices and a change in the character of the neighborhood to construct something that forces a sanitary system to be closer to wetlands. Not that there's no swimming pools in the general area,
Okay.
just
We had
the
amended it.
method of going about doing that would be unusual.
And then my second quick question is, I seem to have a recollection that over the last couple of years, the town revised code about structures relative to groundwater.
Mhm.
So did that just have to do with basements and stuff? Because I thought it was more than,
The town
it
requires
was
2
only
foot
2
for any
feet they went
structure.
to, from, right, not to 4.
Sanitary systems in harbor protection require 4 feet, but that's the only thing.
But
that
not in
require-
water recharge overlay?
No.
Okay, and pool, so the pool meets the 2
Pool
feet?
regardless
Okay,
would be 2
thank you. I
feet,
just
yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
clarify.
Yep.
Remembering. Thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe I missed it. Did you think the proposed revegetation is adequate for this property, considering how far it's
I
over?
mean, we feel that no revegetation would really offset the swimming pool and the sanitary location. But it certainly is better than what's there now. There's very minimal buffer now. 25 feet is, half of the, normal 50-foot setback. Certainly wouldn't be able to get 50 feet. It would be up against the decking and things like that. So that would be, I think, a bit beyond. 30 to 25 feet seems to be like a reasonable number. But again, we would just propose that we are recommending denial overall for the project.
And just on the issue, I'm sorry, one more thing, again, on septic system, you made the case, it's low nitrogen, it's not no nitrogen systems, but
Yes.
do these systems, they don't take out necessarily other contaminants, right, that come out of
No,
flow from the
essentially
house?
what the way the systems work is they allow bacteria to digest that nitrogen a little bit more before it then goes into the leaching galleys. So the nitrogen drops from, I forget what a conventional system is, but down, I think it's below 50 parts per million, or maybe even down around 30 for some of these. But certainly there is nitrogen in that effluent, and any other contaminants, I don't think there's
Maybe
anything
not.
that would remove them.
Right, that's what I thought. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to monopolize.
Are we good?
Well, I don't know. Well, I'm looking at there was a fire in this house at one point in time, and then the house had to be rebuilt. And I'm looking at a determination from the zoning board that really seems to me that all parties involved with this reconstruction and redevelopment took a lot of time and consideration to minimize clearing and construction on this property. And therefore, the house is in the same exact location as it had been before the fire to minimize this disruption, where initially, was it just a normal course of events, they would have recommended putting the house in a more conforming location, more in the direction of where this pool is being proposed today. So,
But that's,
so it seems like there's
behind
a,
us.
well,
Yeah.
it's a they seem to have taken a lot of time and effort to minimize anything disruptive on this property.
Was there an address given for the Hirsch application?
Yeah, she's 56.
Also, just a
Jack
recommendation for agents. I'd like to make a recommendation for agents that when they do submit a determination before this board, that they bring us a copy of that
Yeah, we'll get-
decision, so we don't have to leave the record open for looking into it.
now I'm putting it in the record.
Right? I mean, I think it should be submitted into the record.
Saying,
Now that's going into the record. I mean, she just gave it to him, so now.
You just gave him the decision? Oh, so we don't have to leave the record open. All right, excellent, Lori, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I see the survey. I mean, I can say right now that the sanitary system was replaced essentially in the same location, if not even slightly further away. So I don't think they are comparable. If you look at the survey that was included with it, essentially the existing sanitary system was located around 36 feet, and the upgrade was located then 40-something feet. Maybe the pool pushed it a little further south than it could have been, but it's certainly not comparable to the sanitary system being 80 feet and then pushed to 40 feet.
So I'd like that to be entered into the record digitally by our secretary, so that when we do review, that's one of
that
the
we can
documents
see.
that we review and
We have it.
deliberate on.
Okay.
We'll have it in our files.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
that,
Are we good, Tyler?
thank you.
Just one second.
Is that all you need from me?
Are we good?
Yeah.
Tyler, okay.
Public?
Is there anyone else in the audience that needs to address this board on this application? Matt, do we have any callers?
Please stand by. Let me just check the phone lines. And this is Matt Chapman calling in from LTV, making sure everything is good. Everything sounds great, and you have 0 callers. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Lori?
We all know that if the pool's not going to happen, neither is any of this other thing, none of these other things. It will remain a lawn all the way to the wetlands. If you look at the topography, and that's really important here, the house is the high point, and it rolls off towards the back of the property, and it rolls off towards the wetlands. So the sanitary system, leaching pools, will not be running towards the wetlands. They'll be running down the back of the property if there's any leachate, and that is 0.19%, the nitrates, when you remove it with an IA. It's a very, very low number. Without the revegetative buffer, any lawn fertilizer or any sort of disturbance to the lawn is running directly into the wetlands. Now we're putting a planting, a woody planting scheme here to absorb that before it gets to the wetlands. So really the mitigation that's being proposed here is very beneficial to the wetlands, and I really don't think a very small non-chlorinated pool is going to have an impact on the wetlands at all.
Thank you. Vice Chair?
okay, let me get out I'm not leaving it open.
No, we don't have to.
And then in the application of Matthew Schechter and Cheryl Berman Schechter at 189 Fairview Avenue, Montauk, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-19-2-8, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing and public record at this time.
Second?
Concur.
Okay, our second public hearing is Goose Farm LLC, 30 Wainscott Stone Highway, Wainscott, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-197-7-5. Description is to allow a bin, AC unit, generator, landscape wall, deck, and fence to remain within minimum wetland setbacks and to allow a bin to remain within minimum front yard setbacks for accessory structures. Relief sought a natural resource special permit pursuant to 255-420, variances from 255-430 and 255-1110 of the East Hampton Town Code, and any other relief necessary. The following wetland setback variances are needed where a 100-foot setback are required. A 52.3-foot variance to allow the garage bin to remain 47.7 feet from wetlands. A 35.9-foot variance to allow the AC unit to remain 64.1 feet from wetlands. a 35.1-foot variance to allow the generator to remain 64.9 feet from wetlands, a 24.5-foot variance to allow a landscape wall to remain 75.5 feet from wetlands, an 18.3-foot variance to allow a deck to remain 81.7 feet from wetlands, and a 12.6-foot variance to allow the fence to remain 87.4 feet from wetlands. One variance of 33.2 feet is needed to allow the garage bin to remain 46.8 feet from the front yard where 80 feet is required. Zoning district is an A5 residence X flood zone, 2% annual flood hazard, AE 10 feet, secret class type 2. All right, this is my application, and I will do the field inspection. Give me 1 second.
I haven't received the affidavit.
Is the affidavit of service and posting in order?
Don't know.
Oh, she hasn't submitted it yet, okay.
Yep, everything's good to go.
Thank you. Okay. This first is a posting. The property was properly posted. Next, please, Morgan. This is just a picture of the residence from the street side front yard. Next, please. This is, I tried to do a close-up of the landscape wall that's before us tonight. Next, please. This is generator, right, okay, thank you. This is the generator that's before us tonight. Next, please. Okay, these are the wetlands to the south of the property. This is actually the area, I took a couple of photos of this because it really is interesting when you go there and visit the site, because as the topography goes toward the wetland, it actually steeps down, so the runoff would be a problem. This is actually where the planning department is recommending a vegetative buffer along this stretch on the southern side. Next, please. This is, again, the area on the south side of the wetlands. Next, please. This is the deck in question, which is before us tonight on the end, on the southern side of the wetland. Next, please. This was just a picture I took. It's a beautiful picture. That's why I took it. Of Goose Creek. It's a tributary to Georgia Pond, and I just thought it was a lovely picture. I could have stood there all day. All right, next, please. This is the swimming pool that exists on the property. It's not before us tonight. I just took a picture to give you kind of like a visual of the whole property. Next, please. This is the enclosure you're seeing behind is what has the pool equipment. Next, please. And there is the pool equipment. Next, please. This is just the south side of the house on the side of the wetlands. Next, please. This is the bin in question tonight. This is also on the south side. It's as you walk down the driveway to the south, that's right there. It's visible, but not from the road, but that's the bin in question tonight before us. Next, please. This is a little bridge, again, on the south. I think I took 2 pictures of this, one on each side of the little bridge that extends that you walk over. And this, again, is the area that the planning department is recommending for a vegetative buffer. And next, please, Morgan. And this is just, it was hard to get a good picture of this, but this is just showing you that little bridge that's there. And I think that might be the last photo. Next, please. Thank you. Is there someone here to speak on behalf of the application?
Good evening. My name is Jackie Hubbard, here from Toomey Latham, Shea, Kelly, Dubin, and Corderero. Here on behalf of the owners, Goose Farm LLC, for their property located at 30 Wayne Scottstone Highway. As just mentioned, the application involves legalization of a number of minor improvements located in wetland setbacks. Just to give context, this property, as you've seen and you can see from the survey, is essentially split down the middle by the headwaters of Goose Creek. Almost any activity on this property has required at minimum an NRSP approval. The house sits within the 150-foot jurisdictional setbacks, as noted, has existed since 1961 in this location. Since the applicant purchased the property, we've had to submit a number of NRSP applications, even to include, if you can see where the pool is and where that grass area is around the pool, there used to be an entire additional part of the house that was demolished. Even just to demolish that, we had to submit an NRSP just for, like, I believe it was 173 square feet corner. So we could demolish the other part of the addition of right, but we had to, just for that little portion. So you can see it is a constrained property. Because of the complexity of the property and the number of applications that were required, a couple of permits were left open. To clear those out and to get an updated CO, we started submitting to that end, and then ended up submitting in August of 2024 our initial ZBA application for the deck, generator, AC unit, and the landscape wall. Upon further review, it became clear that the garbage enclosure and then the fence on the screen there, it's just that portion, right, yes, thanks Morgan, right there, that also required a variance. So to walk through each, the fence, and as indicated just now, none of these improvements are visible from the road. Even the garbage enclosure is well tucked behind existing vegetation. It's in a location that allows the garbage company to come through the gate and pull in and pull back out without going towards the main part of the house. It's nicely tucked away. The fence, it's nearly as close as it can be to the property. I know it's a little bit pushed back. Sorry, I didn't mean to touch that. But it connects to an existing gate, which the client received ARB approval for appropriately. The deck actually is a wooden deck built over the previous masonry patio, which was in a state of disrepair. The client chose to build this deck over on top of it, and actually those steps connected to the original patio, the original masonry patio. So now this is at least a safer option, as I believe there was no way to really get back out of the house with how I guess in disrepair it was. This is untreated natural mahogany wood. The landscape wall, previously the gravel driveway had come all the way to the front of the house, and the applicant chose to revegetate a little bit and extend the vegetation in front of the house and push that back, which the wall keeps that together and separates it from the gravel driveway. Again, none of these improvements are substantial, and even with the generator and the AC unit, they're located in a location that is easy to access from the road if they need to be repairs, that kind of thing, and they're connected to the house at an appropriate location. Of course, understand that we're coming to you, late after having constructed these improvements without approval. There was a significant amount of work done on the property, and the applicant has made great strides to revegetate much of the property. It was referenced in the TAM, and you can see it on the survey in the corner over here, that this property had pre-existing clearing of, I believe it's like 140,000 square feet, and now has 95,400 square feet, give or take, if you're not including the high grasses. So there has been an extensive amount of vegetation going on there. I did discuss with Morgan before the original date for this hearing about the area, and I believe it's from flag 6 to flag 8. Sorry if I can't see that well. Yeah, and the applicant is amenable to revegetating in that area, but we did not come prepared with a plan for that today.
You mean a vegetative buffer?
Yes, yeah.
From the bridge to, how far would, what would you agree to?
A little bit.
Like how much? That's what I'm thinking.
Do you mean how
Like how far would you
long
go?
or
'Cause
how?
that's pretty extensive. That wetland really travels through that south side of the property.
The applicant would agree to the length of it. We would have to discuss how deep you want, how wide you want it to be. And if it was amenable to the board, we could theoretically come back with a proposal, or if you were going to condition it, I guess that would be the other way you would, not sure how you want to handle it.
You're proposing,
Proposing a 10-foot, a 15-foot, are you proposing doing it now, or you want to submit it into the record?
I prefer to submit it into the record later, just so I can discuss with the client. But I do know we would be amenable to the 6 through 8, I believe, the flag there.
Right.
Sure.
No, you can't, no,
speak.
no. I mean, you can speak, but
Is it okay if
when Jackie is done.
If you have any other questions, I can take them now, and then I'll go speak to the client, if that's okay.
I have other questions before.
Sure,
you leave. There's a 95 C of O associated with the property. At that time, the concrete patio that was replaced by the deck, was that on the 95 C of O?
Yes, so it's still apparently existing underneath the deck.
So the deck, I mean, the patio's still down there. Deck
It
was
is.
just added over
Just-
the top of it.
Yes.
Okay. And then about that wall, it's the landscape retaining wall in the front that was added to eliminate. Was that done by the current owner, or does that go back as well? It doesn't look like it's that new to me. It seems to be, it's been there a while.
It's pretty rusty.
No, it is the current owner.
No, but the current owner established or put in that wall? That's what I'm asking.
This wall here, yeah, along the side there.
That one
Yep.
there.
Yep.
So that's been in the last 3 or 4 years. It's 21 is the new ownership.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the deck in the back, though, does go back, it goes over a patio that was included in the 95 C of O.
Yes. So nothing was additionally disturbed. It was just this is already existing lawn. It just covers that. And then they've actually placed additional plantings around it.
And the administrative C of O, was it administrative for the earthen bridge, which was approved? Is that bridge that was in the pictures that were shown by the chair?
Yes.
That's the one that we're seeing now here. That's the one that was approved with the administrative
Yes, that
application.
hasn't been changed.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll step down.
Can we hear from the planning department, please?
Good evening, Morgan Slater for the Planning Department.
Do you affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. So the structures in need of relief are relatively minor. The Planning Department doesn't have any major concerns with any long-term environmental impacts from them that aren't already associated with the existing developments on the property. It is a property that contains a tributary to Georgia Pond. It's known as Goose Creek. And so a portion of this lot is a direct conduit for transporting any nutrients, sediment, and pollutants into Georgia Pond. The lot is within Harbor Protection Overlay District because of its proximity to Georgia Pond. It's known to be a water body with quality issues, and that stems from the extent of residential development along the pond shoreline. Many of these properties, including the subject lot, were developed prior to HPOD regulations and have clearing limits that are non-conforming to this overlay district's guidelines. There is that area of clearing south of the small bridge, and that bridge was actually approved back in the 90s by the zoning board. So it's been there for over 30 years at this point, I think, where the lawn extends to and even a little bit beyond the wetland boundary. This is an area where a vegetative buffer would be a substantial environmental improvement on the lot, and it would have positive impacts on the lot's overall impact on Georgia Pond. Even if it's a narrower strip, it would really capture any pollutants, resulting from fertilizers on the lawn and whatnot. And I can answer any other questions.
Do you think 10 feet would be adequate?
Yes, I think that would be a good, it would be a good buffer. I think that probably, I kind of did a little bit of rough math. I think it ends up being an area between 14 and 1,500 square feet total.
And you'd recommend low woody plants in that?
Yeah, so wetlands plants that are accustomed to, being that close to a wetland boundary, they need to be able to have some wet feet over there.
Do we have any more questions for Morgan?
I guess,
Jen.
just to,
Yeah.
sorry. I know what you're saying, that you don't find that these various structures would have a lot of impact, but are there easily conforming locations that you could see
On this, I mean,
Like,
there's, the lot
would
is
it be
huge, so
doable?
there are options for more conforming locations for really any new structures on the lot. So to answer that question, there are more conforming locations, yes.
Thank you.
And in line with that, the generator then, and the generator, I think the air conditioning units, they were more recently placed?
Yeah, I think some of these improvements kind of happened while a lot of some work that was approved was happening. That admin from 2021 permitted the demo of that existing building that was on the south side that was just within jurisdiction. I think that there was probably just some other improvements happening while that work was also going on.
Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address this application? Come forward, please. You just need to state your name for the record, and I'll swear you in.
Valerie Mnuchin.
Do you affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I was just going to add that it has been our intent from inception to bring this property back to the most natural state possible, which is why we tore down almost 18,000 square feet. So the improvements that we made along the way were suggestions by the builder. I didn't realize at the time were not totally conforming, but I really was wanting to say something in response to the buffer. My interest is to keep the pond and the wetlands safe and healthy. So to the degree that a buffer anyway would help, I would want to know that and put it in. I'm trying to bring the whole property back as natural as it can be. So I just wanted to say that that's our intent, is to naturalize, not overbuild. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. Matt, do we have any callers?
You have 0 callers. Thank you.
Jackie, would you like to finalize?
So I do think that we, after discussion, like, and as my client just indicated, the buffer size of 10 feet width is perfect, and that I think I misspoke before. It would be flag 6 to 9. I think I said 8 before, or around there.
I did do a quick sketch just as
sure.
If you want.
In that case, you might not have to leave the record
That's
open. We
correct.
can condition it on approval by the plan.
Absolutely.
So that, I measured this to be about the 10 feet from the wetland boundary.
That-
Like, it ends up being,
So thank you for agreeing to that tonight.
1,400 square feet. Cool.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'll have Sam put this in the record.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you for your time.
do we have it? We're good. I think we're good to close. In the matter of the application of Goose Farm LLC, 30 Wainscott Stone Highway, Wainscott, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-197-7-5, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing and record.
Concur.
I'll concur.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. The next public hearing is Marion Later, 83 Cliff Road, Amagansett, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-174-2-6. Description is to construct a 1,083 square feet of first and second story additions, 588 square feet attached garage, driveway, and IA system on a lot containing dune land and beach vegetation. Relief sought is a natural resource special permit pursuant to 255-420 of the East Hampton Town Code. Zoning district is B residence, X flood zone, 2% annual chance flood hazard area. Secret class is type 2. Council, is the affidavit of service and posting in order?
Yes, I reviewed the affidavit, and everything seems to be in order, and the board has jurisdiction over this hearing.
Thank you, Council. Member Mehring, do we have a field inspection?
Yes, we do. Thank you. So this is on, as we know, on Cliff Road, just to orient. Cliff Road sort of curves, it runs parallel to Central, but it curves around and becomes not Jacqueline, it becomes another road, but this is sort of right at the corner of the curve. So the notice was posted on a telephone pole towards the front of the house, and you can see it there. I think I took a close-up that had the proper date on it. Yep, it had the proper date and time. Next slide. And then this is the house, I just took a couple shots. This is the house, I believe, across the street on the south side of Cliff. You can see it's sort of duney and the house is in there somewhere. Next slide. And again, I just wanted to take a shot a little, you can see the telephone pole with the posting. That is the house directly to the west of the property in question. Next slide. Okay, now I'm going to go on to the property. So this is the existing driveway. If you follow along on the survey, I guess this is proposed to be revegetated. In the background at the end of the driveway, you can see the deck that relates to a pool that was part of a separate application and approval by the zoning board a number of years ago. And then I'm going to move right, but you'll see, so the garage that's proposed is, I guess, going to really come up to the side of that deck, but it's going to extend further out, sort of further out towards where I'm standing. You can see that on the survey. Next slide. Yeah, so a better view here is, so everything, mostly a lot of what is to the right of the edge of that deck, the house would be obscured by a 600 square foot garage that will come further out. Next slide. And then this is just another view right from the road. Right now, there's that sort of material barrier that was up for the winter, and there's a vegetation in there. Some of it was also, how shall we say, hurt probably by the blizzard. I'm going to go inside where that vegetation is to get a better look at the topography and what's going on there. Next slide. Okay, so now I've gone on the other side, I'm onto the property. So you'll note that there is topography, it sort of rises up, it undulates a bit. It has all mixed kinds of vegetation. Again, I'm basically looking at an area where the garage would be ahead. And then as I move a little more east, that's where the new driveway will be proposed coming off the road. Next slide. I can't even see from where I'm sitting, but yes, I think that gets into the area. Now we're getting towards the right side. You start to see the driveway on the other property next to it. And that's really the topography. It's cleared there, but it will be converted to driveway. Next slide. Okay, now I'm starting to rise up on this upward slope. I'm right at the sort of southeast corner of the house, and I'm gonna go, that is the east side of the house. I'm gonna get a fuller photo of it in the next slide, but there's a one-story addition that will be extending from this side of the house. Next slide. And there's some mature trees there. Okay, so now I'm just looking straight on the east facade of the existing house. And again, there'll be a one-story addition that I think will span the entirety of that side of the house, right? Mm-hmm. And that addition is going to start to wrap around the back. So let me go to the next slide, please. So now I'm just about to get to the corner, it would be the northeast corner of the house, and it drops down a lot. There's a set of sort of stone steps. You can't necessarily see in the picture, but it drops down, and I'm going to go again, look at the conditions as the TAM is. One of the issues is this whole property has been, not the whole, but a great amount of this property has been cleared. It's basically a lot of sod, although it's not like that sod is maintained like a, green lawn, although who knows, after the winter. I think some of the photos in the property history, in the existing conditions show kind of what it looks like in season. I'm going to go to the back now. Next slide. Okay, so now I've come down those steps, I'm going down, it sort of will go into a gully, and I'm just getting to the rear of the house. So as I understand it, the side addition will kind of wrap around and attach to a new two-story addition that's going to be on the back of the house. Next slide. Now I've turned around from where I'm standing. It's a little hard to make out, but you can see the property starts to slope up, and in the very distance, you can see the guardrail that's up on 27. So obviously this property runs all the way up to 27. You can also see that as you get more towards 27, you can still kind of get a little glimpse of what the sandy dune-like conditions look like that are very consistent. This whole area, and as I think my fellow board members know, all of this north side of Cliff, most all is characterized by significant duneland. Next slide, I think it might be okay, so now I'm looking straight, my back's to 27, and now I'm looking straight back. And I guess I'm not exactly sure kind of how this part gets reconfigured, but this is where a two-story addition, well, it's like an L-shaped addition, right? So part of it will be close to the house, and then part of it will sort of jut back a number of feet. And I think I have one more that just shows the house. Yeah, I just wanted to get a little perspective. So there's a house, the one that I showed from Cliff, this is the rear of their house, and they have a deck that extends. You can kind of see the house there. There was really no way for me, and it's not in place, so I didn't do it, but I couldn't really get around that deck, the current pool deck at the house and on the other side. So this might be my last slide. Is that my last? Oh, this was one more, I'm sorry, just a little out of order. I think it's on the survey, right? There's like a play area with swings or a slide and stuff like that. That's towards the east-north corner of the property.
Thank you.
I think that's it.
Is that it? Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of the application? No.
Wait, what?
Oh, interesting, okay.
I thought it was you, Lori.
Not you, Lori?
No, Lori's got the other one.
Oh.
How do we proceed, council?
Continuation?
I guess we should just adjourn it and send them a letter.
Okay.
You get to do it again, please.
Yeah, I have the affidavit. I have it here.
So adjourn it and reschedule?
Yeah,
Reach out to the applicant before we reschedule?
I'll have to repost it, yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah, they'll have to repost it and put them on a schedule.
Well, let's see if anybody's waiting on.
Yeah, maybe we see if anybody's called in or something, I don't know.
I know, that was my next. I was gonna, maybe they're on the phone. Matt, are there any callers for this application?
You have 0 callers on the line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So in terms of procedure, will we do what we've done here today?
We'll have to we'll put them on an agenda at some point in the future, and
We'll adjourn tonight and forward a letter to the applicant
yeah,
and
they'll have to pay.
let them
a
literally get
rescheduling
back to
fee
us,
and-
I think.
Yeah.
I think they should respond to us. I don't think, we should
right.
just let them know their public hearing was adjourned based on the fact that nobody appeared, and wait to hear from them. I certainly wouldn't put them on the agenda yet.
No.
Member Marion,
Yeah,
would you like to?
so I'm
make
going to make it not a closing the hearing, an adjournment, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So in the matter of Marion Ladier, 83 Cliff Road, Amagansett, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-174-2-6, given that the applicant was not here for the application, we are adjourning the hearing.
Right. Second?
We need approval? Concur.
Concur.
Thank you, Member Marion.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the public hearing for Mayo Trust, 96 Marine Boulevard, Amagansett, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-176-7-12. Description is to construct an 828 square foot second-story addition with a roof deck covered porch and an IA system. and to allow an existing 118 square foot deck extension with stairs, bin, generator fence, and AC unit to remain on a lot containing a wetland. Relief sought is a natural resource special permit pursuant to 255-420 and variances from 255-430, 255-1110, 255-1172D of the Town Code, and any other relief necessary. Variances of 52.5 feet, 54.1 feet, and 28.8 feet are required to allow the second-story addition, roof deck, and front porch to be located 47.5 feet, 45.9 feet, and 71.2 feet respectively from wetlands, and variances of 93.4 feet, 67.3 feet, 50 feet, 37.3 feet, 32 feet to allow a split rail fence, expanded deck with stairs, generator, bin, and AC unit to remain 6.6 feet, 32.7 feet, 50 feet, 62.7 feet, and 68 feet from wetlands where a 100-foot setback is required. 3 variances of 12.2 feet, 12.5 feet, 12.7 feet are needed to allow the AC unit, bin, and generator to remain 17.8 feet, 17.5 feet, and 17.3 feet from the western front yard lot line where 30 feet is required. 1 variance is required to allow the residents to extend 1 foot beyond the relative height pyramid restriction along the southern property line. Zoning district is B residence, AE flood zone, elevation 16 feet, secret class is type 2. Council, do we have a proper affidavit of service and posting?
Yes, I reviewed the affidavits and everything seems to be in order, and the board has jurisdiction over this hearing.
Thank you. Member Mehring, do we have a field inspection?
Yes, I am back. Okay, so this property is on the corner of Marine Boulevard, on the north side of Marine Boulevard and Maidstone Drive. So it has 2 front yards. The front yard, when I arrived at the property, only it was posted on the Marine Boulevard side. And here's a photo of that. When I was there, and I had actually walked by it a couple of days prior, it was not posted, but an agent for the applicant happened to pull by to check the posting, which was nice. And then I guess she was able to find the posting somewhere on the property, and I'll get a photo of it later on the Maidstone Drive side. So there was a gap in posting on one of the on the Maidstone side, but just wanted to point that out. Yeah. Okay. So here's, this is the current 1-story part of the house that you can see from Marine Boulevard. That's the posting. Next slide. I took a closer up just so to confirm the date and time was correct. Next slide. Also wanted to get, I mean, I think we're all familiar with Marine Boulevard, but this is looking west, I think, east on Marine. The front yard on Marine, it extends, so you can kind of see that whole stretch there on the side is really the front area of the property in question. Next slide. And then I've just come around to the Maidstone Drive side. This is one of the very narrow dirt roads in the Beach Hampton area that we're pretty familiar with. I'll come back to this side later. Next slide. All right, so now I've gone back to the front of the house. I'm going up there. There's a driveway on the Marine Boulevard side. I think that car is in front of the existing garage, I would imagine, and I'm going to go onto the property. There's, good screening on the Marine Boulevard side, which I'm going to go on the other side of. Next slide. Okay, so I just wanted to get a better shot of them on the property. All that screening stuff is to my rear. This is how the existing 1-story part of the house presents. It presents as a very sort of low-slung, simple cottage, very consistent with a big portion of this Beach Hampton neighborhood. Next slide. Oh, and it's cleared in the front there. I just turned my back so you can sort of see Marine on the other side of the split rail fence. This is an area that I think on the latest survey, there's a proposal for a stormwater drainage control system. So this is generally the area. There's a good amount of vegetation in there. Next slide. Okay, now I'm coming around to the east side of the house. That's the corner, and you'll see on the survey, you see planters all around, assuming that's where there's like split rail, kind of holding in some soil around the house. Next slide. Okay, so I'm on the east side of the facade of the one-story portion. You can see those planters. I'm going to move towards the rear deck where there's a proposed expansion of the deck. Next slide. Yep, so I've moved further back, and I'm not sure if the proposed deck expansion is going to go kind of right up to the end of where those planters are and where the deck is, but I'm sort of assuming that's a pretty good guide, because you can see the pavers, maybe not, but like you can see the pavers that still plan to be there. And you can see there's a little bit of topography at that rear corner of the lot, and that's where the septic, I'm going to head back towards where I guess the septic is proposed. Next slide. Yeah, so that's that corner, that's that sort of northeast corner of the property where the septic, and I know the septic has been moved, proposed to move further. That's on the latest survey. Next slide. Okay, so now I'm going around the deck of the house, and this is a second-story section of the house that I imagine was an addition at some point, and you really don't see it very much from the front, but you get a gist of it, from the side. And you can see the deck there. It's all cleared. It slopes down a little bit. I'm going to get to the wetlands in a second. Next slide. Okay, so I've turned around, my back is to the deck, and I'm looking at you. It's hard to see in the photo, but you can see the little pink tape ties that mark part of the wetlands. So that's more of the eastern side of the existing wetland. Next slide. So now I'm headed towards Maidstone. What you see, that sort of shingle-y thing, I think that's the shed. That's the shed, and the wetlands would be off just to the left of this photo. Next slide. Okay, so this is the second driveway on the house that's on the Maidstone side, and you can see back there on the tree, once the agent got there, she reposted, she said she found it, so she reposted it on that tree, set in from the road. Next slide. Ta-da, there's the bamboo. So this is on the applicant's property. The wetlands are inside of this. The bamboo is very dense on both sides, and it's sort of trimmed and it looks like it's been kind of landscaped on the top, but it was very hard to get into the wetlands, but in the next slide, I'm gonna go around. Next slide, thanks, Morgan. I tried to kind of, on the north side, tried to kind of peek in a little just to kind of see the condition. There's a lot of brush in there and the wetlands. It's, really a concerning condition. Next slide, I think I have one more. And then just wanted to show this is the house directly abutting this property to the north on Maidstone. I think that it's a very small cottage. That might be it.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak to this application?
Yes, indeed. Lori Wiltshire again for Land Planning Services. This application is primarily to request an NRSP and variances to allow construction of a second-story addition with a roof deck, a front porch, and to upgrade the septic system to an IA OWTS. Of course, I wrote AI OWTS. Numerous other variances are requested in order to legalize certain existing improvements, including a bin generator AC unit, split rail fence, and enlargement of decking. As stated in the TAM, the most reasonable and practical way to add living space to the existing residence, along with maintaining roughly the existing coverage numbers, is to add a second story. A structural engineer's report attesting to the viability of adding a second story was recently submitted, as well as a proposed drainage plan. The driveway will be made of pervious materials. The existing cesspool sits 28 feet from the wetlands and is most likely 8 feet deep, sitting in groundwater, which is 4.5 feet below the surface, with 0 nitrates removed. The proposed leaching trenches will sit 2 feet above groundwater and filter nearly 100% of the nitrates. We were able to scoot the leaching galleys further from wetlands to 29 feet. As I said, the existing cesspool is 28 feet, which can be seen on the survey dated March 9th, 2026, previously submitted. As also stated in the TAM, the wetlands in this area are significantly fragmented and disturbed. However, in order to improve the wetlands and environmental conditions, the owner agrees to revegetate any and all disturbed areas with American beach grass prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy. Ultimately, clearing will remain as it is now, well under the allowed clearing limit. Lot coverage and total lot coverage will both increase slightly, but still remain well under what is permitted. In order to further protect the wetlands, a 1,056 square foot scenic easement is proposed over and around the edge of the wetlands. This easement, along with the IA OWTS upgrade, proposed drainage components and revegetation, will mitigate any impact to the wetlands from the proposed work. The decking, while it has been expanded, is a pervious structure which does no damage to the environment or the wetlands. The proposed porch is on the other side of the house from the wetlands. Also, the split rail fence, AC unit generator, and bin are all minor improvements which will have no effect on the wetlands whatsoever. The hardship is not self-created, and that this is a small lot of 10,614 square feet with wetlands in the northwest corner and 2 front yards. Nothing could be built on the property without requiring an NRSP and variances. Granting these variances will neither cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood nor detriment to nearby properties. Many homes in the area are 2 stories, and the proposed second story will be consistent with the neighborhood. As previously stated, there's no better way to add living space to the home than to add a second story. While the variances may be substantial, this is due to the size of the lot and the presence of the wetlands in their location. The pyramid variance is only 1 feet, so that cannot be considered substantial. And the owner agrees with the recommended project conditions, and Joseph Mayo is here and would like to say a few words to you as well. Come on, yep.
Can I ask you questions first?
Yep.
Let me just, you just read into the record that we're working from a survey of March 8th. I have March 5th. Am I missing something?
March 9th.
March 9th, 2026.
2026.
All right, I'm looking at the wrong survey, okay.
It wasn't in the original packet.
Is attached to
Attached to the-
a letter
Okay.
dated March 18th.
All right, thank you.
And that's the one that shows the change in the,
And it
Septic
also
and the-
shows the scenic easement.
It shows the scenic easement and it shows the septic system further from the wetlands.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to note that the one on the screen is earlier revision. It's not the most recent
Right.
revision. I don't have that with me right now, but I think you all have it in your file.
I'm looking on it in the public, it's in the public hearing file.
It is, I think it is in the public hearing record. It's just not what I have right now.
Okay, yeah.
Introduce yourself, and if you're not a lawyer, you have to be sworn.
Oh, no. How do you know I'm not a lawyer?
I said if you're not.
Okay. Hi, Joseph Mayo Jr.
Do you affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to tell you what the house means to us and why we don't want to move and stay there. It's been there for 26 years. It's like my dad's dream to buy this house, and he was shockingly able to do it and very proud of himself for that. And we're like a very close family. It's like a family home, lots of memories there. And the house is small, and we already have a second story. It's just not a full second story. So we just kind of want to round it out so that we have room. And my parents are getting much older now, and it's very hard for them to visit us. And, they're in their mid-80s and they have health problems. So I think also just to have them be able to come and spend time with us there now, having more space in the house so they have more privacy and room is really what we're looking for, just to, so we can keep the house and the essence of the dunes intact and, just keep the house as a family home. So I just wanted to say
Appreciate your
that.
comments.
Thank you.
Just add a little bit more to what he told me earlier. So it's a family home. It's he, his sister, his mother, his father, and now 2 nieces. So they've run out of space. And the parents can't go upstairs anymore because of their health. So they need that space downstairs, and they can send the kids upstairs. So they just need more space. And they
Does the
really don't
board-
want to move. His father's very, very fond of this place.
Does the board have any questions for Lori
Yes.
before we move on to the planning department?
I was wondering how they're proposing a scenic easement that's filled with bamboo. How are you addressing that?
Well, there are ways to deal with bamboo. You can pull it up and try to remove the roots. You can also implant some natives to help. I mean, whenever they do, like, for instance, Phragmites removal, they'll remove the Phragmites and then start installing other species that are native so that they fill out the area and the frags can't grow up as readily. And that could be mitigated in that way.
But your plan is to eradicate the bamboo over time?
That bamboo has been there.
You have to speak in the microphone, sir.
That bamboo is there. We've had issues with the bamboo, and other neighbors have tried to get rid of it, and some have been successful, some not so much. We know it's invasive. I guess there's a lot out, surprisingly, in the dunes. So we're willing to remove it as much as we can. I know that there's a lot of challenges. One successful neighbor did it, one neighbor not so successful. But, I think we can take some out, plant whatever. I mean, we're willing to, there's no attachment to it doesn't really go with the area anyway. So if we can remove it.
The point of an easement is to protect a natural feature or some other environmental aspect to a piece of property that we want to see protected in perpetuity. It's an admirable thing to save that piece of land from other development, but the fact is we have an invasive species there that we would want to see removed.
By all means, we didn't put it there. So we'd love to get rid of it. It does grow, like we keep on trying to contain it on our property. So we do, I mean, it pops up like far away sometimes. So we are always constantly, as you can see, it's trimmed on the top because we do our best to keep it as it is, but we've not tried to dig it up.
Believe me, we've seen a lot of bamboo and we know how difficult it is.
No, I mean, as I said, so we tried our best to keep it in that area, and we've done a good job keeping it where it has been when we bought the house, but it is a challenge, and we're willing to speak to experts to get it removed if
Yeah, we'll speak to whoever your neighbor used it was successful.
Yes, yes, I can call her.
Yes. So the only question for me is protocol. We would have to remove the bamboo and put new plants and then put the scenic easement, or put the scenic easement with language stating we're going to be allowed to remove the bamboo and install native plants. Really, it's intended as a wetland buffer.
Right. Well, we'll bring that up with the planner, but, right. But before,
exactly.
before we,
Yeah, but there's a few, go ahead, you go.
may I?
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can
So
go first.
Lori,
Lori,
oh,
we have other questions first. then
Yeah,
we'll
we're
go
not,
to the-
right, yeah.
well,
So-
I have things on
but
mine too.
Yeah, for you, before we go to the plan. So there are, like, I think 5 different versions of a document called plans in the public hearing file. They're numbered. I'm assuming, I just want to look at the plan. I want to talk about the pyramid. Or
Pyramid drawing?
the height variance, whatever it is. But there's like 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever is Morgan, can you put up whatever is the most current of the plans? Would you mind?
Yeah, they're kind of fragmented the way that they,
Yeah, I know. That's where I really.
you want the pyramid elevations?
No, I want to look at there's like sketches of the elevations.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's,
It shows the deck, it shows the different decks and the pyramid lines. Let's see if I can find the right one in there. No, there's another set. This is sort of.
These are the elevations that we have.
Okay, yeah, there's some more, but let's just start with this one. So there's okay, let's see from here. So let's just talk about where is and how big is the need. You said it's a foot for is it a height or it's pyramid, right?
Pyramid.
Pyramid.
From this sketch, it appears to be the glass railing.
There's a corner here.
Right. But I think if I saw, and maybe I'll let someone else ask questions while I pull out the one, because I thought there were additional pyramid issue on other parts of the
The chimney
deck.
doesn't count.
It wouldn't
What?
be the glass railing here. It'd be that little triangle that you see that's just above where the line comes through.
Right.
There's a slight bit of space in there.
Well, glass railings are not exempt
What I'm
from,
saying is it
no
couldn't be
longer
the glass
exempt from
railing.
height and pyramid. So, but let me yield right now to another member. I want to go and find the other plan that I saw in here, so.
So Lori, the TAM is suggesting for the sanitary system to better increase setbacks. Why a more southern area on the lot isn't more appropriate versus the north? Is
We
there
couldn't fit it.
reasoning behind that?
We couldn't fit it. The expansion pool is down there, but the IA is right out, the septic leaves the house right where the existing cesspool is. So that's where your IA is. And then you have to go through your leaching gallery and then to your expansion pool. So you can't switch the expansion pool, and there's not enough room where the expansion pool is for the 2 required leaching galleries.
Okay. Thank you. Does the board have any other questions?
Question of the stormwater chambers. It wasn't on your original survey or part of the application, the stormwater chambers?
Correct. It was requested by the planning department.
Oh, the planning department. Okay, thank you.
I think we're ready to hear from planning.
Morgan Slater again for the planning department. So the parcel is located on the corner of Marine Boulevard and Maidstone Drive and is part of the 1936 Beach Hampton subdivision, which was clearly created before the town's natural resources special permit regulations, which were adopted in 1984. The property also has an undersized lot area for B residence zoning, which is pretty characteristic of this subdivision. The residence itself was built in 1960. It's pre-existing, non-conforming to wetland setbacks, and it's located about 32 feet from the freshwater wetland on the lot. This wetland has increased in size since it was first identified by the planning department in 1993. This is not uncommon for the wetlands found in this area because of its proximity to the ocean and sea level rise and the increase in impervious surfaces that have occurred as a result of residential development over the last few decades. The planning department has observed this wetland flooding beyond its delineated boundaries during prolonged wet periods, so it acts as a valuable contributor for stormwater runoff retention. There has been an increase in the presence of bamboo in and around the wetland, which is a known nuisance for some of the wetlands in this part of town. Despite this disturbance, the wetland still contains indicator species such as winterberry, highbush blueberry, and sensitive fern, and provides habitat for wetland-dependent wildlife. The application is proposing a second-story addition to bring the residence from 1,656 square feet to 2,484 square feet, and is the maximum allowed under the 50% expansion cap, which limits the zoning board's ability to grant variances for a larger expansion. The second story requires a pyramid variance from the property line along Marine Boulevard, and the applicant should address whether alternative designs were considered to eliminate this variance entirely. Many pyramid requests in this area may occur because a residence is being raised to meet FEMA regulations, but it is not the case for the subject lot, even though it is in a E16 flood zone. The work is not considered a substantial improvement under FEMA according to documentation in the file, so the house is not required to meet the first floor elevation required by its flood zone. The minimum setback for leaching pools from the property line is 5 feet, and it looks like that they did shift it to the maximum extent without needing a variance from the Suffolk County Department of Health. It's still in a location that's closer than the existing sanitary system, which isn't typically encouraged by the code. It is an extremely constrained lot, and it's challenging to get the footprint of all the required mitigation in here. I guess one thing that the applicant can address is if there's really any other sort of engineering that can happen to increase the setbacks of the leaching pools from the wetland. I do believe that there is a little bit of grading involved to get the leaching pools to meet the minimum 2-foot separation to the groundwater, which will direct more runoff into the wetland. I wouldn't be surprised if this wetland continues to grow over time, given all the factors going into, the runoff and increased storm runoff and rising sea levels. As for the scenic easement, it's a nice contribution, but I don't think it's really sufficient mitigation. It's over the exact footprint of the wetland. It's not really over the buffer much. The existing vegetation on the lot, the planning department has never observed beach veg or duneland on this lot. It probably did contain it prior to planning department inspections taking place. It's just grandfathered in with its clearing restrictions. But I think a way for the environmental conditions on the lot to be improved would be to bring some of that duneland character back, because it's, a few hundred feet just north of the Atlantic Ocean. We can assume that it is supposed to have a duneland character. And I can answer any questions the board may have about the property or its
The
history.
volume of the pyramid variance is a 1 foot by 35 feet across, so it's 35 square feet. Basically, it's the entire length of the road,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, we usually go by the linear dimension, not necessarily the cubic dimension.
Yeah.
But the cubic
Sometimes
dimension is
volume
notable.
influences
Yeah.
our decision here and what kind of obstruction it's going to be. Then the other thing is you just talked about replenishment, but I think the clearing is under the maximum allowed at this point. Okay, so if we did get a variance with some offer to revegetate, would that be anything that you would then consider? I know that this is a disturbed area, so getting an easement over a disturbed area is not much of a bonus for us.
Yeah, it's not necessarily something we would recommend, the planning department would recommend as mitigation, really. I think, increasing the presence of any native species on this lot would improve the environmental conditions of it. Whether it's, can be viewed to offset an expansion, I don't think that's as easy to say.
Okay, and the major complaint here is basically on GFA because we're improving it over the top of an existing structure.
That's correct, yes.
So we're looking at 800 some feet of GFA addition on a constrained lot.
Yes, it is effectively doubling the size of the house.
Yeah. And then the fact that the septic is in a situation where you think by raising it is going to do something. Okay, I want to get it clear exactly I know it's in the TAM, but exactly what we're looking at here.
Yeah, it is, the house would not be able to be expanded beyond this proposal.
We're at the maximum now. Sorry.
Do we know what the existing bedroom count versus what the final bedroom count will be?
I had that in the TAM. I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I think it was increasing by maybe 2 bedrooms.
I just read,
Yeah.
1 bedroom? 1 bedroom? It's going from 4 to 5, I believe.
currently the residence has 4 bedrooms, and the proposal will create a 5-bedroom house.
Okay.
Any questions for Morgan? Additional? Lori, can I talk to you?
Privately?
This is obviously a difficult lot. So mitigation here is the key to approval. So is there any way to increase setbacks for the leaching pools? And, have there been any avenues for increasing conformity, like removing decking or impervious structures?
Well, I think what we
Close to the
can,
wetland, I mean, because for me, the very important part of this is going to be mitigation, because this is a really difficult lot. And how would you address that?
so what I'm thinking is, so we know we can't get any further with the septic system. We might be able to push it slightly south, but you're going to gain maybe a foot. I mean, right now we're going from the existing cesspool, which is 28, to nearly 30 with the leaching galleys. If we pushed it down slightly towards Marine Boulevard, we could gain a few feet, I think.
A few feet matters on this lot.
Okay, so we'll have a look at that.
You could.
And then I think that the most important thing here is to mitigate the bamboo.
Yes.
And we've offered to revegetate disturbed areas with American Cape beach grass, but I think what we should do is create a woody vegetated buffer between the leaching galleys and the wetlands. That I think would be significant mitigation. And important once again, because the topography drops from 7.4 in the corner to 5.5 feet at the IA.
Right,
That would be important.
yes, and every foot counts on this lot, I think.
And just to follow on, Chair, to your question, you mentioned the idea of even potentially removing some structures. So
Yes.
again, right, it's not a big deck extension, but you want a deck extension, these planters, that pavers, things like that. Because I'm just looking, again, I'm not quite sure what the groundwater is here, but that east side of the house and then kind of coming around in, where that stormwater thing is it, I just would really like to see a robust consideration of alternatives for
I'm
the
sorry, I
septic.
didn't follow what you're recommending.
Not really, I'm not here to redesign for you, but I was just, since the chair sort of mentioned, even potentially considering
Conformity.
removing some structures. So the things I'm just and again, this is not my application to redesign, but I'm looking at the things like the proposed deck extension, these planters, that exist and I guess will still exist on the east side of the house that wrap around. I'm looking at that area where this stormwater chamber thing is going to be. So I don't know, just would also.
So what is the concern about the planters or the decking as it impacts the wetlands?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I was sort of this question about are there things that could happen that could accommodate the septic system, even further away? Again, I haven't done the engineering on this. I'm not the designer, but I'm sort of.
So given the constraints
on the question that was asked by the
right.
chair.
So given the constraints of the family, clearly an additional bedroom and a little more sitting area on the deck for eating outside is kind of important. You've got 6 or 7 people here.
Well, you have new roof deck though too, right?
Well, that's true. That is true. But you rarely find with roof decks that people will carry dinner upstairs. That would be a place to go have a cocktail. So I think our best bet here, these planters, they're just railroad ties in dirt.
I understand. That's what I saw. But again, I can't redesign it for you.
Would you like to see those removed?
No, that's not what that's not what I'm saying. You're under coverage and stuff like that. All I was saying, sorry, if I'm not being clear, is there a way to, would getting rid of the planters free up any space on the east side of the house to be able to retreat the septic system, even sort of further south, I guess, on the.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's all I was saying. So
I will inquire because
I'm looking at the planters, I'm looking at the deck, I'm looking at pavers, on.
I know, and pavers don't require a setback from septic, and neither do the railroad ties. It's from the foundation, but we have to leave room for the expansion pool. The health department won't approve it. So that's how I can go back to our septic designer and say, what can we do to move this system south to get it? But I don't think it's going to affect pavers or planters.
Because right now you have, I'm looking at the survey, between 24.8 and 26.8 feet on the east side of the current residence. So I just was wondering if there's a way. I know we see so many different septic designs that get very creative, and I think just want to, I agree with the chair that this is a big linchpin, I think.
So I'm going to go back to the septic designers and I'm going to see what we can do. It may be even possible to move the stormwater chambers to the left-hand side of the property on the Maidstone Drive area and have those leaching pools turn the corner.
That's kind of where I was going, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have a look at that. And then we'll definitely propose a more robust dune formation, dune planting plan than beach grass.
Like I said, for me, with this application, mitigation measures are going to be critical in terms of the protection of your lot and moving forward.
Right.
So how long, well, we're not done yet, but.
I don't think it's going to take very long. I just need to get the sanitary engineer to work with me and then the surveyor to plot it. You're saying you don't want a scenic easement at all?
It's not a recommendation that the planning department is making as, mitigation for the project at all. I just do want to note that if any, are we talking about removing bamboo from the wetland or?
Yes.
Yes.
That would be a type 1 action because it's clearing under secret, clearing a wetland.
And wouldn't there have to be, I mean, a methodology? We can't just approve that.
Yeah, so, you know, the
Determination.
the
Exactly. I was
bamboo-
thinking that.
The bamboo outside of the wetland can be removed, but once you get in the wetland and start digging that bamboo out, that's a type 1 action under secret.
Sorry
Could
to
it
cut
be
you
a
off.
restoration project? It could be, no?
A type what?
Not
Would
through
it be a
this
wetland
application.
restoration project?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to go through, you know, the whole secret process because it's type 1.
That's just an EAF, right?
Yeah.
So,
It'd be,
you know.
Okay.
It's a,
Though.
Well, the other alternative, which we did for Chris Leathers, was to put a bamboo root barrier,
Root barrier. Yep.
and that could work.
Has that worked out?
Sorry?
Has that worked out?
Root barriers do work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've
They go
approved
deep enough
some.
into the soil to keep the roots from spreading towards the house.
Most of the bamboo is not in the wetland area.
Right, so we could contain the bamboo. We can contain it without disturbing the wetlands and causing,
Right.
So actually, just following up on that, so now that I really look at the survey, oh no, the wetlands are flagged in that whole area. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, so I guess if you could remove bamboo outside of it, potentially put in a barrier, a root barrier. And then I think at that point, with the revegetation and the buffer, I guess I would still want to see a scenic easement at that point. I don't see, but since it's already proposed.
Exactly. I agree.
Right,
I
yeah.
actually agree. Okay, Lori, thank you. Is there anything
so
else?
then I have a protocol
I have to
question.
see if there's any other callers on the line.
Yes, please, you can do that first, but I just need to know how you do it. Do you remove the bamboo first? No, we're not removing it in the wetlands. We're putting the barrier, we're removing it from the outside, so that would be a bit of a clearing. Is that considered clearing if we're removing bamboo, or is that mitigation?
Well, you would revegetate it once
We are
you
gonna
take it out,
revegetate it.
right? Once you take it out, you would revegetate, right?
Mitigation.
It's mitigation.
It's mitigation, okay, that's great. So we're going to put a root barrier, we're going to remove the bamboo outside the wetlands, we're going to address, try to get the septic system to be further, and we're going to add,
Are you going to get back to us on the septic system being further?
I am,
Like
yeah.
you'll leave it open for
yes,
that?
yes.
Okay, good.
And we're going to add some significant bluff or dune land re-veg.
Thank you. That would be great.
Did we hear from,
The woody buffer.
did we hear from Morgan
Woody
already?
buffer, you said, right?
Woody buffer.
Woody
right.
will, it would have to be compatible with dune land vegetation, but it can be, some of it can be woody.
Well, whatever it would be
Well, the
approved
planning
by the
department
planning
will
department.
approve that,
Right.
so.
Correct.
That's not really,
I mean,
exactly.
you can
That's not really our, it's not the recommendations made by us.
I mean, you can see on this property, like on the eastern edge and under the deck, like there's sand, like this was a sandy dune land property. I understand you've got pre-existing here, but anything you can do to
Yep.
actualize.
Okay, I think we're good to move along.
We heard from Morgan? Sorry.
We did hear from Morgan.
Some from Morgan. You want to hear from Morgan again?
I just was like,
Lori, let me see if there's any callers.
Yes.
Matt, are there any callers?
You have 0 callers. Thank you.
So council, are you
Well,
okay with everything we've
yeah,
discussed?
I mean, we're gonna have to have a discussion because currently this is just the application has been processed as type 2.
Right.
But in the past, we have determined that clearing of removal of bamboo within a regulated wetland like this, like they're proposing, was an unlisted action, which would require it to then go through the secret process.
But we're no longer, we went backwards on that.
So
We're
we're not gonna, so that's not gonna happen at all?
They're just going to
They're suggesting they're going to remove bamboo outside. of the
Outside of the wetland.
Outside of the.
Just as
We'll put a root barrier
And
along
put-
the wetland
They're
boundary.
suggesting removing the bamboo outside of the wetland and having a root barrier.
Correct.
Is that within the purview of what we can do tonight?
Yeah.
Or
that would-
condition of approval?
Yeah,
Should this
yeah.
get
It would
approved?
be outside of the.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
I don't know. Morgan's still looking pensive. You think that's okay, Morgan?
Yeah, I think we'll have to maybe figure out exactly where the root barrier is going to go. I don't think it should go like right along the wetland, like, you know, if the scenic easement is being established, I guess along the boundary of the scenic easement would be appropriate.
We condition that upon approval.
Can that be a,
Because you'd be digging into, it's going to be messy.
Is that the kind of thing that can work through the planning department as a condition of approval?
Yes.
bamboo being removed
Should be shown,
outside of the wetland and installation of a root
Like the
barrier?
landscaping re-veg plan should show where the root barrier, and also, you know, an installation protocol.
Yeah, protocol, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And then,
All right, so we should really move on.
okay, I know,
think we've
sorry.
talked enough. All right, thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion. How long are we leaving it open?
Lori, how long do you need for this to be kept open?
Well, now you're asking for a revenge plan, can that be made a condition?
Condition.
I think we could do it as a condition of approval.
Probably just need, let's give us a month, we may get it.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, so what date does that take us to?
April 30th?
That we have a meeting on
We have a
April 30th?
meeting
On
7,
April 28th,
28th, yeah.
which is exactly.
April 28th, Jane, April
Okay,
28th? Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion in the matter of, is it Mayo Trust? Mayo Trust, 96 Marine Boulevard, Amagansett, Suffolk County, tax map 300-176-7-12. Going to the motion is to close the hearing, but leave the record open until April 28th.
Second. Thank you very
much.
much, Lori.
Thank you very
Did
much.
anybody vote?
Oh, just said, I
Did you say second? I
Okay.
concur.
I concur.
Jim, do you concur? All right, well, we're moving on to our work session. We are going to table Diane Caputi post-hearing decision until next week. Other decisions is Gardner's Marina, 35 Three Mile Harbor, Hog Creek Road, East Hampton, New York, East Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-93-1-8, modification of a 2023 determination.
Okay, I'm going to go through this slowly. I was taking notes on it. So the original approval was to demo a 600 square foot clubhouse, build a new 2,300 square foot clubhouse, construct 600 square feet of, a 600 square foot storage building, enlarge the boat basin to 4,150 square feet with floating dock and piers, reconstruct 575 feet of bulkhead and raising it 18 inches, and dredge adjacent to that bulkhead. So that was the original approval. The work is underway. The boat basin work and bulkhead reconstruction have been completed. The proposed modification with regard to the clubhouse that was approved, the first floor elevation of the clubhouse is now decreasing 18 inches from 14 and a half feet to 13 feet. There will be a crawl space instead of a basement. They are adding 76 square feet of bluestone pavers. They are replacing a 3-foot wide walkway with a 5-foot wide walkway, and there's relocation of some HVAC units. There are some existing changes that have already occurred that they are asking for the board's permission to remain, which includes the width of the boardwalk around the boat basin increasing from 4 feet to 6 feet, which led to an overall area increase of the boardwalk to about 1,300 square feet. And there is a 134-foot retaining wall on the northeast corner of the boat basin up here. And the parking area to the south was approved as paved, and they constructed it with quartz gravel, and they would like the quartz gravel to remain instead of it being a paved parking lot. The planning department doesn't have any major concerns environmentally with these changes that would trigger the need for additional mitigation that wasn't already, you know, associated with the original approval.
So the wall that you just mentioned extends from the northeast corner and it goes
I think it says blue,
that
Here.
loop. And how far does it extend to the northwest?
134 feet
Can you show us?
In
with
length.
that- with
How
your
tall is this
cursor? Where does it end?
in the northeast corner, right here.
And then it continues on as it goes westward. Where does it go to? All the way over to that circle?
No, I think it just goes to the steps.
Right to there.
Yeah, just to
That's
here.
all we're talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is the sensitive wetlands up in the northwest.
Yeah.
The wetlands over here?
Yes.
Yeah, so, we're not really, it's not, doesn't really get close to those. I think
Not close
it
proximity to
terminates
those.
at the steps right here.
Mhm.
And what's the, well, you say you don't have a problem with it, but what's the rationale for expanding the width of the walkway around, what is it, around the,
Around the boardwalk?
yeah, it goes from 4 to 6 feet?
I don't know what the applicant's reasoning was.
It matches with the town bill.
Oh, it matches what the town built.
That's according to.
Oh, at the town dock.
It matches the
Oh,
width
okay.
of the dock in
Exactly.
front of the
Okay.
town slips on Thurmont Harbor, which is directly next.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with this. How does everybody feel?
Yeah,
Well, I don't have a
I
problem
mean, the
with it. Go ahead.
parking lot's okay too. What's going to keep the gravel in place? Something's holding it in, right? So it doesn't end up in the water.
It is quartz gravel, so it technically should be stone that's native to the area.
But it'll stay in the
kind of-
parking lot.
Yeah,
Isn't that technically an improvement for us over a paved?
That's what I'm
right,
saying.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the original, it's, it's pretty comparable just because the original paved parking lot, I believe, had drainage structures engineered for the paved lot, and now it's a semi-pervious surface, so.
I have no problem with it.
I don't either. How does the board feel? Okay. We're okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion. In the matter of Gardner's Marina, 35 3 Mile Harbor, Hog Creek, East Hampton, I make a motion that we approve the modification of the 2023 determination.
Second,
Concur.
Concur. Okay, next is extensions of time, Hummel, 67 Church Lane in Springs, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-96-7-8. It's an extension of a 2002 determination.
So this is an old extension of time request, but the original approval was for front yard variances to construct an addition on this side, it's this side of the house, really. When I was looking back at the aerials, it looked like they constructed it pretty soon after they got their approvals. I think that they just forgot to close out their building permits. I looked through the building history, they renewed all their building permits, it was a lot. So all their building permits have been renewed, they just need the extension of time in order to close it out and get their certificate of
CFO.
occupancy
Just for the
finally.
CFO. Okay.
All right, this, you good with this?
I'm okay with
With it,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. In the matter of Hummel, 67 Church Lane in Springs, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-96-7-8, I make a motion that we approve the extension of the 2002 determination.
second,
Concur.
Concur.
Minutes approval, draft minutes from Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. Member Berger.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from Tuesday, March 24th, 2026 for the East Hampton Town Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
Concur.
concur.
Let's move on to the resolutions. 186 OMH LLC, 186 Old Montauk Highway, Montauk, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-87-3-19. Whose was this?
This was
yours?
mine.
Here it
and
is.
We tabled it last week so that I could read it because I didn't get a chance last week, and I did read it, and I'm fine with it. So we all remember what it is, right? Okay, so make a motion for 186 OMH LLC, 186 Old Montauk Highway, Montauk, tax map 300-87-3-19, to approve the resolution as written.
Second,
Concur.
Concur. Next is James Shynock, 301 Marine Boulevard in Amagansett, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-177-1-42. Member Mering,
So this is council, what?
you want this? I
Yeah, yeah,
printed
yeah.
it out.
Oh, thank you, yeah. So this is a resolution related to a court-ordered natural resources special permit approval.
Yeah.
Council, do I need to say anything else about this, or?
No, yeah, basically, yeah, it was an Article 78 and.
Right, yeah,
I just put all the, yeah, it's just to kind of
okay.
put a bow on it.
To put a bow on. All right, I'll make a motion for the bow. In the matter of James Shynock, 301 Marine Boulevard, Amagansett, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-177-1-42, I make a motion to approve the resolution as written.
Second, Concur. Vice Chair, do we have an adjournment motion?
Yes, you do. I'd like to make a motion to close the Town of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals public hearing for March 31st at 8:43 PM.
Second?
Concur?